Good morning, everybody. Hopefully, my audio is okay. I put a video up this morning on the other channel about snakes in the wall of a house. I about had a snake. I hate snakes so bad. Good morning, CJ. Hey, Whist. What's up, Shelly? Hey, Chris. Share Bear made it in. I think I said hi to everybody else. I've been in here early. Kiki, good morning. Extra AF is in, just rolling in. Yep, Snazzy, I saw your comment. I couldn't believe it. And Angel had a dream last night about snakes. Oh, God. Like if I'm going through a book and there's a picture of a snake and they always take it a certain way, like its fangs sticking out and everything, I'm like, I dropped the book. I'm like, I got to get away from this. No. Now I'll go hiking and stuff like that and not worry about snakes. I mean, I look down, make sure I don't step on one. I don't mess with, at the zoo. I'm not gonna go look at the snakes. No, I hate them. And I hate when people go, well, the way you know if they're poisonous or not is you have to look at the shape of the head. Screw that and screw you. I'm not doing it. Do I look like Jack Hanna up here? But I do want to. JTB is our resident snake lover. She has a great channel with her snakes. So I'm ready for her to weigh in on this snake situation in Colorado because they have made a den under this woman's house. And they're in the walls. It's crazy. Good morning, Natasha. Hey, Nene. Hello, y'all. Y'all said I've had several snake dreams. I hate them. What's up, Muscles? Hey, Bama Cat. Woo! So today would be a great day for justice. It's hot as hell outside, and it's going to be hot where Letitia's eventually going. Instead of the build up to the heat, like normally we get like 70 degrees for a couple weeks, then the 80s. We went straight to the 90s. And it hit hard. Wow. My goodness. But today would be a great day. A great day. So when I was leaving on Friday to go to the wedding, this is how tech savvy that I am not. I thought, well, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my laptop with me. And that way I can see it on the way, chat with everybody. Then I'll just plug it in when I get to the hotel and, all that good stuff. Well, I didn't get the memo. You see, when you take the laptop and it's not near the modem, you don't have Wi-Fi. So I'm getting all these text messages. I'm getting Facebook Messenger messages. And I'm like, well, now hang on. They couldn't have come back with a verdict that fast. What the hell's going on? And I'm like, oh, because I'm not near the modem. So that was all my fault. I kinda tried to blame that one on OJ, but that was 100% me. That was all me. OJ got left overnight by himself. He had plenty of food, plenty of water, clean litter, the whole 9 yards. But when we got home around 11 o'clock Saturday morning, he was fit to be tied. I mean, he was pissed. He wouldn't have anything to do with me, wouldn't have anything to do with Greg. He wouldn't sing, he wouldn't dance, he wouldn't talk to me, he wouldn't cuddle, he wouldn't do anything. He just kept looking at me like he got dropped off, you know, at some sort of raggedy orphanage or something. I'm like, "You had the whole place to yourself, OJ. My goodness, you used to live in the wild." Wow, man, he was mad. Snazzy says, "'Cause you didn't bring him bacon home." He got bacon when I got home, and he would just sit there, nibble at it, and just give me the stink eye. Like, I was supposed to have bacon this morning, but you were out celebrating with your kids. That's how it goes. He's very selfish like that. Very selfish. But I was talking to Where Summer. Oh, Diana. Thank you. Diana gifted 10 memberships. Carol gifted 5 this morning. Left some coins in OJ's bacon account, his bacon trust fund. We're rocking and rolling already this morning. Thank you so much. So let's look on the bright side. Maybe the jury, when they were back there talking, they said, look, the Crime Lines and Lies community, they don't have Wi-Fi right now. So let's just wait till Monday when everyone's together. Maybe that's it. Maybe they were waiting on us. I doubt it, though. I doubt it. Because when a jury comes together, of course, they elect a foreman. And the first thing they do is they hand out their questionnaires if they didn't already have it in their hand. And they take a vote. Where do we stand right now? How many for guilty? And she's sane as a judge. How many for guilty, but she didn't know what she was doing at the time? So somebody's holding out. They're obviously not unanimous because they had the case for 4 hours, and we've seen juries come back in less than an hour. It's taken them longer to fill out the juror questionnaire than to deliberate. JM said someone believes her story. That's scary. But I tell you what, I've got all the faith. I have a lot of faith in this. I do. I believe in our democracy. I believe in our justice system. I do. And I just think that they're going to get to the bottom of it. Brown Eyes said that dang doctor flipped someone. I know. Can't fool us, though. Can't fool us. Nope. But it is scary to think about that. And also, demographics are big. I mean, the way that people think in Brooklyn, New York is different than the way they think in Juneau, Alaska. So you get some, Oklahoma jury, they're going to be like, hell, they're like, she wasn't crazy. I'm just using Oklahoma for an example. Oklahoma's not a shining star of sanity right now, if you know what I mean. It's just an example. So, I mean, it could be, someone on the jury has more of they don't really believe in the prison system. They want everyone rehabilitated because that is a thing right now. There is a movement for that. I'm not down with it, but that's just me. That's just me. It only takes one. And they can't walk out there to the judge and say, we want to vote old girl off the island, bring in an alternate because she won't agree. They're going to have to agree or it'll just be a hung jury. But it was only 4 hours. I mean, if we were having this conversation in 2 weeks, I'd be really nervous. It's so rare, though, for a jury to, knowing that you have to come back on a Monday. They should be going back to work in their regular lives. They've been doing this since April 3rd. We're well over a month into this. So somebody is really holding out. Oh, what to do? What to do? They'll poll the jurors later and they'll probably show up on the news and talk to people on court TV and stuff like that. And they're going to tell us, there was that one person that believed she didn't know right from wrong at the time, or there was three, or everybody believes she was insane except for one. I don't know. We're going to find out. So they should be back at it in about 50 minutes. So I have put a show, I left it unlisted and it just says verdict is in. And I don't want to unlist it and people think that the verdict is in, but I'm ready because normally they give us about 30 minutes to an hour before they bring the jury in for us to hear what their decision is. Plus, they have to go through every count. It's not just murder. There's, other things that they have to look at. So somebody's hung up. We know that for a fact because they couldn't decide on Friday. It's quite a system. And, here's the thing. I would not want to be that jury. I wouldn't want to be on any jury where I had to make a decision like this. I just wouldn't. This jury would be very easy for me, though. I would have no problem giving her death, which is not on the table. They don't do that there anymore. That would not bother me. But there are some cases that we've covered on this channel where I'd be like, man, I'd hate to be them because what if you're wrong? Crime Story Diva says, what happens if it's a hung jury? They got to try her again. They have to do this all over again. Extra AF said, easy peasy. This one is for me. This is hands down. Let's look at the comments and we're going to get to it, my friends. All right. 2 weeks ago, Fine Art on Fire said, okay, if Letitia was not sane the day of the murder, but perfectly fine the day prior and days after, hauling the body across the nation is accessory and conspiracy with herself, hence her multiple personalities. Ha ha. And both those charges carry the same punishment as the actual murder. So regardless, she would go away for life, correct? That's a really good point. CR, thank you for the memberships. Thank you very much. That's a really good point. The whole argument is that at the time of little Gannon's murder, Letitia didn't know right from wrong. She was Maria or Jasper or, whoever she was at the time. She couldn't have stopped herself. Okay, so exactly, Sly Sonia. Temporary sanity that lasted 4 days? Yeah. Longer than that because she toted him around in a suitcase for 8 days. And with her crazy strength, because she's all hopped up on anxiety and paranoia, adrenaline from what she's done, she tossed him over under a bridge. That in itself is a very lengthy sentence. Toting him around for 8 days. So she's supposedly sane when that was going on. So how do you do it? Do you say, okay, well, she's going to get insanity for the murder. And then if you ever go to release her, then we're going to put her in jail for toting him around for 8 days. I don't know. I'd love to know. But that was a really good point. Tracy said another thing that's so aggravating. She said, well, everything is aggravating about her. But it's amazing how she kept all of her personalities and vampire instincts under control during her interrogations and phone calls with Al. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? She said, I hope the jury remembers all that. I also wonder if she wanted to kill Al. Well, I wonder myself. Was Al at any point in danger? And I'm not saying that I want Al dead. I'm not saying that I want Al dead, but her big issues are with Al and Landon. So why kill Gannon? Beat up on someone your own size, Letitia. Is it because you can't carry Al in a suitcase? Crazy. Barb, thank you for the super sticker. Barb says, did you see the judge wore blue on Friday? I missed that. I missed that. I will say this about the judge, and I'm not saying it's his fault, but the jury instructions to me were a little convoluted. And we have seen some cases before where the jury instructions alone force them to acquit. Gamer says, because Al is tougher. Bama Skin said, maybe the jury wants her sweating it out all weekend. Well, they got to come back. They got to come back. So hopefully over the weekend they had time to think about it, even though they're not supposed to, but that's impossible. You can't turn that off. Wiz said, the law is clear to me. She was declared not insane by a licensed expert, guilty on all counts. And you are so right. And I really wish that had been honed in more with the jury. I really do, because we all know that those defense attorneys weren't going to object to anything. They were hardly paying attention. Because had they honed that in, it might have dawned on them that if she truly has DID, then she wouldn't be able to participate in her defense, and we wouldn't have even been having a trial. We would not have even been having a trial. She was evaluated by many doctors before we got to trial. Yet here we are. How come none of her personalities came out the whole time? Or do we know? I didn't see any Ninja Maria Sanchez coming out. I saw her flipping people off, reading the Bible. I guess she was mouthing happy birthday to Harley or something. Yeah, that's not a big deal. That's just typical her attention-seeking behavior. Sigh, Sonia, thank you for the super sticker. Says the judge has the patience of Job. Boy, doesn't he. Because he's been around the block. He has seen these people come in and out of his courtroom for years. You don't get to be a judge for being a dumbass or just having a shitload of student loans. He knows his business. And the audacity, the disrespect that was shown in his courtroom, I don't know how he contained himself. I think if the defense had had more witnesses, he would have impeached Dr. Lewis. I truly do. I truly do. It's crazy. It really, really is. All right, so let's look at where we stand right now, and then we're going to look at the questions that they had for Dr. Lewis.
Month of arguments and testimony, the fate of Letitia Stock now rests in the hands of a jury. She stands accused of the murder of 11-year-old stepson Gannon and then driving his body across the country to dump it.
Prosecutors and the defense painted two very different pictures of Letitia Stock, one of them as a heartless killer and the other as someone who is legally insane when she killed Gannon. 9 News crime and justice reporter Matt Jablow has been covering the closing arguments and the trial for us. Matt?
Kim, the jury got the case around 1 o'clock this afternoon after about 3 hours of closing arguments. It's been a closely watched story for more than 3 years now, and it may soon be reaching its conclusion.
Can this defendant distinguish right from wrong? The evidence and her actions tell you that she can.
Calculate.
Okay, let's do a vote. Did she know right from wrong during this murder, or did she have a psychotic break because of the overwhelming stress of being a stepmother with no help and her marriage taking the wrong turn? I say she's selfish. I say she's selfish. I say she's a narcissist. She's grandiose. She believes she is smarter than everyone and that she could honestly make it look like he was missing. Amanda said she knew. She knew. She knew what she was doing.
Manipulative, hateful, and violent, but not insane. That's how prosecutors described Letitia Stout during closing arguments of Stout's murder trial.
If you lose your temper, you don't get to claim insanity.
On January 27, 2020, Stout shot, stabbed, and killed her 11-year-old stepson, Gannon, in their home in Colorado Springs. She then put his body in a suitcase, drove to Florida, and tossed it over a bridge. The suitcase was found a few weeks later with Gannon's body still inside.
Because there are people who are truly legally insane, ladies and gentlemen. They don't act like that.
Prosecutors say Stout killed Gannon in part to hurt her husband, whom she was planning to leave.
Well, they're saying it right there. They saw the Google searches. Find me a new husband. Find me a husband without kids. My husband treats me like I'm the babysitter. My husband won't be sexual with me. I hate my stepson. That was one of them. That's a biggie. Manipulative. She is that. And she has shown this behavior for years, just not homicidal maniac. Just not homicidal maniac. Not that anybody would expect it. Lori, thank you for the super sticker. Thank you very much. Says congratulations on 20K. Yeah, blew my mind too. I was like, what in the hell? Chloe, thank you for the super sticker. Said the Google searches alone. How can you get past that? I thought with all of the searches and the way it was articulated during trial, you see an escalation. You see a buildup in her manic. How pissed she is. I'm nothing but a babysitter. Why doesn't my kid's stepmom get me a Valentine's present? Trying to find homes in LA and Orlando. Find me a man that will pay me to take care of these kids. Get me a new husband book. And then it escalates to, I hate my stepson. I want to know who on that jury is not affected by those Google searches. Because they were definitely the buildup to this.
They also said she hated Gannon because she knew that Gannon would never love her as much as he loved his actual mother.
Mental illness from her past got triggered, and there's a temporary period of psychosis.
Stout's attorney, however, told the jury a much different story, a much more simple story as well. He said Letitia Stout was legally insane when she brutally attacked and killed Gannon, and therefore should be found not guilty by reason of insanity.
This was not premeditated murder. This was a psychotic break. That is the only thing that makes sense. There is no other rational explanation to understand why this happened other than that.
If Letitia Stout is convicted of first-degree murder, she would face life in prison without the possibility of parole. We'll let you know just as soon as the jury reaches a verdict. Kim?
Oh, yes, they better. Whew, I'm on pins and needles. I am on pins and needles. I mean, we don't know because we're not in there with them. But what could be the holdup? I was fully expecting, and that's what happens when you assume, that they would go in and just say, Guilty all across the board. Her putting him in the suitcase, and it appears to a lot of people and myself that the morning of this picture, that suitcase was at the end of the bed under him. That looks like the outline of a suitcase to me. I know some people say it's a wedge pillow. It's a big-ass wedge pillow then. I don't know. I don't know. You look at this letter. I have to put my glasses on to look at this. This is a letter she wrote where she's complaining about Trinity Food Services. They're the ones that bring her meals to her. All right, so she's got all of this stuff documented. September 27th, 2022, October 12th, 2022, October 13th, October 19th. Trinity did not send hot meals. After filing claim in the United States District Court for the District of Colorado, El Paso County, and Trinity Food Services has continued to intentionally interfere with my right to free exercise. This is not an isolated act of negligence, as I have stated in my complaint, were not incidental. I have included additional constitutional injury. Then she goes into how she has been served non-kosher meals. They're not warm meals. See, she's not going to do white bread and a bologna sandwich and half an orange. She wants kosher, warmed up meals. Sarah says, "Oh, please let me analyze that handwriting, please. Take a screenshot. Looks like a serial killer's handwriting to me." This is entitlement. This is obviously someone who's not insane. She's keeping notes. What is she going to do at the end of the day when she has no constitutional rights except for to a sliver of soap and a squirt of water once a week? What is she going to do then? Pale Rider, is she even Jewish? Well, she is now. She wasn't before. A lot of people become Jewish when they're in jail because they get better food. Now, even if she had come in and had the hat on and the whole 9 yards, I still wouldn't have believed her. She had an issue with peanut butter. She thought people were putting messages in her peanut butter sandwich. She's disgusting. All right, so I know several of us got a little nervous, rightfully so, because after Dr. Lewis's testimony, which was wild AF, the disrespect that so-called expert showed that court was horrible. I do love when the prosecutor called her out and said, "Why was your son in the room when you were interviewing Letitia?" Then the son in his bright yellow polo shirt with his man boobs sticking through it is down in the stairwell smoking up the pot. So here are the questions that the jury had for Dr. Lewis. In what way would Letitia giving Gannon enemas impact her relationship with him? Dr. Lewis said that the enemas, especially performed regularly on a child, can be a form of child molestation and sexual assault. However, Lewis cautioned that this claim from Letitia may not be true. Huh. Well, who would make that up? Does that go against that she was only insane at the time of the murder and she was sane before? Sounds like it to me. Did the number of cases drop at Bellevue the hospital Lewis used to work at after Lewis's DID clinic opened. Her answer was there was no actual research conducted on this as far as she knows, but she would bet money that the answer is yes. How much money you want to bet? All right, then the question, how do you determine if someone is faking or exaggerating their mental illness or not? Her answer, it says Lewis gave a very long-winded answer to this, but essentially said what she had said a couple of times in trial about this, that you have to look how someone acts in an interview and look at evidence of it existing outside the interview and things like past writings. And while I didn't see anything introduced about past writings of Letitia's, I clearly saw her daughter, Harley, and her brother saying she never displayed any of this before. Many people were asked on that stand, did she speak in a Spanish accent? No. Did she want to be called Taylor? No. Did she want to be called Jasmine? No. Did she mention a Maria Sanchez? No. So, in my opinion, Lewis, by saying you have to look at how she acts outside of the interview, she didn't do any of these things until she had an audience to convince. Number 4, did you perform any tests to help determine if Letitia was faking or exaggerating DID? She says, yes, that was actually all she said. Okay, so she'll take her word for it. Super duper. The whole thing is crazy to me. I think someone can just be so grandiose, so narcissistic that they can drive themselves crazy. Because looking at Letitia, I'm going to say she's got something definitely wrong with her now. She's been sitting, around cement block walls for over 3 years. So she goes from laying on the couch all day planning their next vacation to sitting in jail. SRB says Lewis contradicted herself throughout her testimony. Yes, she did. And the way she answered the jurors' questions, the questions that they were asking made me nervous. But the way she answered that last one, to me, it would make their decision a lot easier. That's just me, though. Shelley says, I'm looking forward to the victim impact statements. Me too. And I have heard that they can actually give a victim impact statement right after the reading of the verdict. Ooh, wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? We're all mad here, said I didn't get to see the last one. What was it? Hang on. It was, did you perform any tests to help determine if Letitia was faking or exaggerating? And her answer was just yes. She didn't break down what the testing actually was. Just that she has it, shut up and go home. That was basically it. And let my son smoke pot where he wants. Couldn't show up on time. She said the defense attorneys lied to her. Then she shows up one day. She's got the food poisoning. But she fell out of her wheelchair as well. I'm like, well, how the hell did this all happen? No. Crazy. So let's look at a little bit of Letitia's mental illness.
Letitia Stauch's mental evaluations playing out in court today as the case draws closer to closing arguments as well as a verdict. Now, Stauch is the Colorado stepmother accused of killing 11-year-old Gannon Stauch. Her plea, not guilty by reason of insanity. Fox 31's Nicole Fierro in studio, closely covering this case for us. Nicole.
Yeah, with Letitia's plea not guilty by reason of insanity, the question isn't whether she killed Gannon, but if she was insane or able to tell right from wrong. Prosecution wrapped up Tuesday after weeks of testimony, including a psychologist who evaluated Letitia and found her sane. Now it's defense's turn, and they have a very well-known psychiatrist saying otherwise.
Going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, that I drive Max so absolutely nuts.
Footage from 14 hours of Letitia Stauch's sanity evaluation last November played before the court.
I'm trained to kill. That's what I do. Trained to kill.
Psychiatrist Dorothy Lewis conducted the.
Oh my goodness. What movies has she been allowed to watch while she's been in the clink? Listen to her trying to act like Maria Sanchez. I'm trained to kill. I'm trained to kill. Listen to her.
Court.
I'm trained to kill. That's what I do. Trained to kill.
Psychiatrist Dorothy Lewis conducted the sanity evaluation for the defense, testifying that she evaluated Letitia as appearing to have dissociative identity disorder.
Oh, my protector is Maria. Maria, I don't like very much to talk with you. If you want to talk to Maria, I don't know, sometimes she'll talk, sometimes she won't.
How do you know she's not fooling you? How do you know that?
Well, watch, listen. Maria did it. Oh, I didn't.
What an idiot. The doctor can't even give a formative answer. How do you know she's not faking it? We'll watch and listen. He's not a psychiatrist. This is your job to explain to everybody. Dipshit.
Prosecution questioning not only Dr. Lewis's results, but the way the well-known doctor known for interviewing even Ted Bundy conducted her evaluation.
You don't recognize your own son?
Because he was running the camera, but I don't recognize.
Look at that in the back. You don't recognize your own son? Oh, what do you say to that? You have to get your son to run the camera? Don't you have a tripod and you just hit record and sit down? Why do you need his ass? Unless you're afraid Maria Sanchez was going to kill you, you bag of bones. Is that what you were afraid of? Look at that. You don't recognize your own son? I'd have laughed my ass off if I'd been in there.
Your own son?
Because he was running the camera, but I don't recognize.
Well, running the camera, Dr. Lewis, he's going out the door when the camera shuts off. What is your son doing in the interview room?
Now, just minutes ago, court went late today. They finished up. We're going to be hearing closing arguments Friday. That means we could also get a verdict and potentially hear from family. We'll be sure to cover it live on scene. Reporting live here in studio now, Nicole Fierro, Fox 31.
And I can't wait. And I can't wait for it to come in. And this is wishful thinking. Guilty on all counts. We wish her good health. We wish her great health. We want to make sure Letitia spends every minute of her miserable life writing letters about kosher meals for the rest of her life in jail. But I can't wait for them to let Dr. Lewis and Dorothy Jr. know that, hey, you made a fool out of yourselves. The jury thinks you're full of crap. Good luck being an expert witness anywhere. Grab your umbrellas. It's raining. Carol just gifted some Crime Lines and Lies memberships. Make sure to check the expiration on those. I don't know how it works. I don't know if it's just for the rest of the month or for a whole 30 days. I don't know how it works. Somebody has to tell me. Nana says kosher meals. Yeah. Get her some kosher meals. Gotta be kidding me. So Letitia does admit to shooting him. I mean, she admits. I mean, they came out of the gate and said she did this, but she wasn't killing Gannon. She was killing demons. They didn't mention Alaskan vampires in the opening statements. Because I would have shit and fell back in it. I'd have been like, do what? Alaskan vampires? So let's look at this.
Ty was on his way back. I go to school in Florida. I was on his way back here. Whenever that noise again, I realized my handgun is in the car. I never drove my car. It was in the car all day. Me and Andrew jump up, okay? We hear it, and I start going down the stairs slowly, and I run back up the stairs. And I was like, downstairs. Now, I don't know who's downstairs, what's going on. I don't even know if anyone's in the house or if it's just the people looking or what's going on. When we go back down the stairs, Edgar has the other handgun on him. Crossing over the front stairwell is someone in a, it looks like a cape. Okay? So it's like a cape wrapped around them. Goes straight into the back bedroom. As soon as I see him go to the straight back bedroom,
Hold it, Twilight. Hold it. Gannon was murdered in his bedroom. His bedroom. And if you're crazy and you have all of these personalities in you and your hatred is for Al, then you would have gone after Al, not Gannon. So when she's talking to these doctors, I just wish somebody would have said to her, well, hold on. All of the blood was in Gannon's room. Anything else in the house is from you transporting him and getting rental cars, going out to buy dog food, and being gone for 3 hours because once again, you're moving his body. How depraved and morbid is that?
I'm going to instantly go with the protection mode. I went to go grab the gun like from Edgar. And I thought the person in the cape, I didn't know who it was. I happened with the whole Michael, the archangel, the whole thing had happened with my stepdad. And when I grabbed it from him, the gun hits me and then hits the person in the cape. At the time, I didn't know who the person in the cape was. Oh, standing on top of the bed. I didn't know at the time it was standing on top of the bed. And
the person in the cape she was after. Then she saw Michael the archangel. Well, he would have stopped all this shit if he was there. Her stepfather. But the person in the cape really got her.
So later on, when I sat down with my attorneys and we put it together and realized it, I didn't know until that point that it was Gannon standing. Because prior to that, I thought.
So this is yet another defense. So the person in the cape, and so she shoots. Boom, boom, boom. Now she forgets about the hydrocodone, the burning, the beating the night before, the stabbing. She makes it sound like she was just killing a caped intruder. But I didn't know it was Gannon. Got to be kidding me. No, it was Batman.
The whole like cape thing. We've put it together over and over and over, and I sit and I cry with them. I did this with them and everything. The only thing that comes to my mind is that the way the cover was wrapped, that's what had to look like the cape, was the way that he had the cover wrapped around him. They can see what they want, whatever about me. I never was purposely hurt Gannon or hurt anyone that I would have thought it would have been Gannon. Never in a million years.
Never in a million years. Well, it must have been a trillion because you did. If I had thought it was Gannon, I would have never done that. Well, Gannon didn't have a cape on. You also, I think, tried to OD him. Stillwater says it was Zorro. So she wouldn't kill Gannon or anybody in a million years. But she'd kill Zorro.
Okay, never. I had these kids all over the country. If I was going to do something like that, It was somewhere in another country. Like, come on, like people who want to kill people do it because they want to take someone's life. That's not what happened. They paint me as this monster and I did all these crazy things. I never once knew it was Gannon. I, in fact, didn't even know it was Gannon until later on. The reason I didn't is because Lena, I guess the noise woke Lena up. If you read the report, Lena told you that she helped carry Gannon's body. That report in her interview, she says on that Gannon's body's not moving.
Okay, her placing Lena at the scene, saying that Lena said his body's not moving, and Lena helped carry him. That is such a monstrous thing to say. Lena cannot be in two places at once because she sent Lena outside on a cold day, told her not to come in the house because Lena could possibly hear a gunshot or whatever she had going on in there because it wasn't cleaning. She can clean with Lena in the house. She can just shut the door. They got home a little bit after 2 p.m. Lena got home around 3:30. She stabbed him. She beat him. She shot him. She had a lot going on. But now she's trying to put Lena in it. Lena helped me carry his body. We never heard from Lena. But I have a feeling with the many, many, many interviews that little girl has had to do with the authorities, she has never said that she had to carry her brother's body. You know how I know that? Because when she was on TV with her mom and dad pleading for Gannon's return, instead of saying, "I love you, Bubba," she would have said, "Oh, his body wasn't moving. I had to help carry him." What a liar. Lena would never sit there and watch her parents coming undone, looking for Gannon, knowing she knew he was dead. No, this is so sick to me that she is even saying this.
That's because she was there and she helped carry Gannon's body to the floor. I couldn't get him up the stairs. I didn't even know it was Gannon at that time until I moved it over. I lose it. Like I am all over the place, like screaming, crying. That's how Lena hears me. Lena's helped me. Now Harley's still asleep. She hasn't woke up to read any of this. It's a hard sleep. Lena helps me tote Gannon up the stairs. I'm throwing up like blood, the side of him. Like I literally don't. Gannon is still alive. Gannon is barely talking. Okay? We try to get him up steps. We can take. I'm like all over the place. We get out the garage to go to the car. Not going out because at this point I think I was in complete and utter shock. And I'm throwing. I know I'm throwing up because I see all this later.
Now, so she's throwing up, so we're supposed to feel sorry for her because her belly can't take her shooting the Caped Crusader. So she gets an 8-year-old who somehow is in two places at once. She's outside on a cold day riding her bike by herself. Knowing she can't come back into the house until Harley gets there and they go to get cleaning supplies. But somehow Lena's in two places at once, and this thing's throwing up.
So when I tell you I know I'm doing something, I sit back and written a timeline and looked at everything and figured, this out because I was just on it. I remember being in the car on the passenger side, and we were taking Gannon to the hospital. But I was on the passenger side, okay? Now my leg's bleeding, which if you look at the footage from the hospital, you can see where I got hit with a bullet. Okay? So my leg's bleeding. And that's probably why there was a little bit of my blood on the car. I don't know at this point. I don't know if she went back in the regular party, I don't know anything because I remember waking back up in the car and being like, there's no palm trees. Now you say, what is palm trees? In South Carolina, when you go to the hospital and there's palm trees, it's on the Grand Strand. That's why it's called Grand Strand. The beach, and then there's palm trees. I didn't see any palm trees when we were in the car, so I didn't think I was on the right road. But I was in the passenger seat, not in the driver's seat. Next thing I know, when I wake back up, I hear a loud noise, like a howling noise. Like
A loud noise, like a howling noise. And of course, she says that Harley slept through all this. Harley was at work. Harley came home. Harley got a text saying, I need this, this, and this, because I figured out how to clean up the burn from the candle. It's in the probable cause affidavit because they spoke with Lena. They already knew because Lena was talking to the investigators from the get. She told them what was going on that afternoon. She's a very brave little girl.
noise, and it reminds me of like when my grandpa died, he made like this noise. That was the noise I heard when I wake back up and I'm in the garage, in the car. Now we look at camera footage and my car does go out 5 minutes. So leave the neighborhood. So what we put together is that it must have been when I went out in the car hearing the noise, that must have been when Gannon took his last breath and I was still out of it. Go back in and park the car. So, or come back to until Lena came back outside to the car. And Lena's asking what's going on, what's everything. I go in the house. Harley's face, Lena's face, they're all just like white, like they've seen a ghost. Like they don't even know what's going on. Police, like the whole world, as if this ain't really going on. Like there is no way this happened. Like,
yeah, what is she trying to say? Wiz said, what is she saying? That she put him in the suitcase when he was still barely alive and that she heard his last breath in the car? Yeah. Yeah. She's trying to put those final screws to Al and Landon. You see, they've had to go through this trial and listen to all of this. I heard, I wasn't there, that at one point Landon walked out of the courtroom and had to be picked up by people. I mean, she almost passed out. She also had to hear multiple times in this trial, Gannon wanted to be with his mother. Gannon was never going to love Letitia more than his mother. He loved his mother more. She had to listen to all of that. This is a punch in the gut and the throat for Al and Landon that they're never going to recover from. Never going to recover from. And it's not their fault what happened. She is crazy. Nobody believes when they get married that the person they're with can wind up killing them. I will say there was plenty of red flags for Letitia, but not on this level. Nobody could have predicted this. No one. I guarantee Dr. Lewis couldn't have. I guarantee she couldn't have.
there's nothing wrong, y'all. Everything's fine. He's going to be fine. He's going to be home. That's when I started going through like all the motions of, you know, going to go get this person, because to me, it wasn't really going on. Like, this was, you can't even compare this to a nightmare. To have gone through that, you can't compare it to a nightmare. That is far from a nightmare. And to know that he was speaking to me and Lena as we were trying to take him off the stairwell. And then it was like, none of it was either. So I just started going into different personality of like, this ain't really going on. We got to find him. I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? I guess somehow I go on to the airport. I don't remember any of that, but
She doesn't remember going to the airport, but she gave reasoning as to why she was getting a rental car. She said it's because they were leasing the Tiguan and she was worried about the miles on it. Now, who would worry about the balloon payment on your lease when your stepson is missing? Who would worry about that? Who would worry about miles on it? Because she's trying to make it sound like she needs to conserve the miles so she can go find Gannon. Then she made another excuse up saying she didn't want to be in the same car because Gannon might think he's in trouble. And Gannon might not come to her if he sees her regular car. Snazzy, thank you for the super sticker. Snazzy says Colorado courts just tweeted they'll be back in court at 9 a.m. for jury questions. I don't think my heart can take it. Well, I'm gonna make bets right now. It's not to see if she had kosher meals over the weekend. They're thinking about something else. Let's see if Law and Crime's gonna have that on. Give me just a second.
footage going on to the airport. I want footage just talking to people and saying like, we're gonna find him. Like, I don't really like remember that vividly, but I know I did it because I've seen it. I'm not gonna lie and say I didn't do it because it was there. Like, me talking to people, me doing everything. I got just disassociated, and I was like, this is not real. That there is no way this happened. So Edgar, another male, he's a family member, and I'm not going to say their name. Somehow during this mix, when I was like going crazy trying to go get Albert, and I was screaming at everybody, talking about it's an accident, it's an accident. I think they have one of the things reports where I was like, I didn't ever know it was Gannon because I really didn't. It was someone that came. The reason he was taller was because the bed was sitting, like, you think a twin bed. He was standing on the bed. So to me, or to whoever I was, thought that was a person in a cape. That's the only reason at all that the gun would have went. That is the only reason. And like, I played this back, like I said, 50 million times in my head. Like, was I in the right mind to turn the light switch on? No. My mind was in the detective mode because he wasn't there. He wasn't there. Where was he at? Like, this was somebody in the house. It was probably someone trying to molest him. It was probably someone trying to hurt one of us.
It was somebody in the house. It was somebody trying to molest him. It was somebody trying to hurt one of us. You just said it was somebody in a cape, and you wouldn't have done this if it was Gannon, if you had known it was Gannon. And then supposedly Lena helps you move his body, and Lena tells you he's not moving. I see that they are getting ready to start, so I'm just waiting. The minute I hear the judge's voice, I'm going to switch over to it because I want to hear what these questions are. Fun to Ski said, I wonder if they're the jury instructions. I wondered about that myself because the jury instructions, and it's not the judge's fault. It's because of what they have to decide. This is not guilt. This is about insanity. And he was explaining things that you can't take into consideration. And it was confusing to me.
What I was already going through with my stepdad earlier in the day, Maria could have thought it was my stepdad. He could have thought it was anyone who was trying to hurt anyone else in the house.
Maria could have thought it was my stepdad and what I had been going through with my stepdad earlier in the day. Her stepdad has been dead for years. Yet she lied the morning of Gannon's murder and said she couldn't come to work because her stepdad was hit by a car. Okay. Okay.
She's going to protect. That part of me goes in protection mode to protect everyone else around me. So there was never a moment. There's no murder. There's no hurt. There's no intent. Look, I had everything I wanted in my life. Career, this, that, you name it. There was no reason to hurt.
Listen to that. I had everything I've ever wanted in my life. A career. This, and that. It's always about her. Always about her. Not husband, wonderful children, a home, stability. I can eat sushi whenever I want because I'm not going to cook. A career, this, and that. Listen to that. My gosh.
Anyone in my home. I gained absolutely nothing out of her as a child. But abuse, negativity, shit.
To be here because I've received a question from the jurors. It's actually two questions. The first one is, can we have an index list of all exhibits? And do we have that?
So we have two different versions of the exhibit list that we brought based on Mr. Sproul giving us heads up about this. One has every exhibit, even the ones that were not admitted. And then we have one that's pared down that has every admitted exhibit, which I think would probably be the best one for the jury.
Right, I agree. Okay, so I just need the one that has, oh, you got it? Okay. I just need the one that has the admitted exhibits. And I want to make sure that it also has defense exhibit. There was one.
We weren't keeping track of defense.
Okay, there's only one, so I'll write it on there. So that'll be
two
fine.
copies, Judge. May I have
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yes, one of those copies we could give to the defense judge if you'd like.
Do you need one? Okay. And my thought is that I just write down. Oh, no, we haven't. It's on the second page. Picture from Garden of the Gods that was admitted. So it is on there. So it's all good.
Our paralegal is more awesome than I thought.
Yep.
We'll say her name in case other jurisdictions or lists don't want to hire her.
I get it. So take that with you before so I don't lose it. All right. The next question is, can we have both a preliminary and final report from Dr. Lewis? And I think what they're talking about is they want the reports from Dr. Lewis. My proposed response is expert reports are not introduced as exhibits in a trial. You have all the evidence you may properly consider to decide the issues in this case. Prosecution?
Yeah, I think that's the right answer. We certainly, those two things were not ever admitted, and
Right.
I think it would have been improper to try to admit them as well. So.
Right, and they never are. So that's why I put this. Usually I only have the second sentence, but because they're asking for both reports, rather than highlighting or saying that this has something to do with Dr. Lewis specifically, which it does not. I mean, they're not going to get Dr. Torres and Dr. Grimmett's reports either. Mr. Tellini?
No, I agree.
Okay. Then I will sign this.
Your brief approach has been somewhat of an issue that came up over.
Give me just a second. Okay. Right. So we've sent back, I gave you both, right? Okay. We're going to send back the exhibit list, and the answer to the question, that I've already, given you. That takes care of everything at this point in time. I'm still going to give a 30-minute warning with some grace for the people to get here. I know that it may take them somewhat longer. Can you give me some idea of generally where they might be coming from?
Well, I think we've got Landon and her family here. Al and his side of the family, I'm sure, are just waiting for us to give them a call. They live in town. So
Okay.
I think in all likelihood, we'll be fine with 30 minutes. I'm just saying if that becomes an issue,
No, if it does.
you never know.
Right.
And you've been very gracious with that the whole time, Judge. So
Just let me know and we'll deal with it. Otherwise, I'll let you know when I hear something.
Okay. Sounds
Okay.
good. Thank you.
Court will be in recess.
All right.
Eek. Look at her pulling her pants up like the attorney was. And it's like they were sitting there at the table trying to reassure her. They want the exhibit list. Sounds like they're getting close. And they want the reports. I should have put the comment on the screen, but extra AF, you are exactly right. So you have people that are saying she was sane at the time, and then you have Dr. Lewis's. What do they want? All the reports? Because I didn't catch all of that. Also, yes, she was smelling her cup. She has believed for a long time she was being poisoned in jail. I guess she can smell poison, but didn't realize that what she was given Gannon was hydrocodone. Tiffany says, great questions. It sounds to me like they're getting close. Two Boston Mom says she's disgusting. She smells herself. She is disgusting. You know, and so they said it's going to be a 30-minute warning. So I've got a stream already set up. I'm ready to rock and roll. So they said Landon and her family are there. Al just lives in town. I bet they don't leave the courthouse. Hell, they're probably sleeping in the parking lot waiting for this. They've been waiting for years Over 3 years, her antics has taken up 3 years. Not only did she take their son's life, but her antics have held off justice. Always about her. Always. And it's going to take them quite a while to go through that exhibit list and those reports, because not one expert had a small report, nor did they have a small amount of time on the stand. All right, so let's get back to her account of the day where she said she didn't realize it was Gannon and Lena helped her.
So like, go do that. No, I had to carry him up. I could never in a million years tell anybody what it was not okay. It was not okay before, because I felt working down with someone in a cape. Like, how do you even explain that again, mom, that you think it's someone in a cape? You can't. You know? But then what happened after was even worse, because I never even moved again. I'm not going to incriminate anyone, the male person. I'm not going to do that. Because it wasn't any intent there to harm anybody. There was no intent for anything. I went crazy thinking I could raise one of them and did. I was driving him around the Burger King, trying to get him Happy Meals. I freaking took him back to GameStop to get that $60 game that I told you about, that I told him to get earlier. That's how freaking crazy I was going. Because I was like, he's going to wake up. You know, I don't know if y'all know Andrew Womack. I tried to find Andrew Womack's house, but he brought his son back from the dead from 5 hours at Memorial. And I grew up watching the Daily Gospel. Womack. So I just kept thinking, like, God.
The Daily Gospel Romance? Has anybody ever heard of the Daily Gospel Romance? I'm from Northeast Oklahoma. Oral Roberts has never looked very romantic to me. The hell's she talking about?
Get people parents to bring it back from like this is not supposed to be happening. All you not even believing this is even happening. That's how my mind shifts. Older male person finally at some point told my mom that I had completely lost it, because I told you my mom came out here. My mom, brother, they were all like, you have lost it. You can't bring somebody back from the dead. They already knew, but they weren't sort of, you know, involved in something that's like, you are going crazy. You need to go to a hospital. I didn't have anything to do with body being moved. I really kept saying he has to get back to China. That's where his grandma and grandpa have a farm. That's where he was like, the person left me, couldn't carry him anymore. And the whole thing was him to be buried in South Carolina. It wasn't to be like, you know, something else. That was a horrible thing. I was not well enough to get him there. That's why the male person is the person who tampered with evidence and who tampered with the body. That was not me. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that. You know, with him by a weapon and did do this part. I'm telling you. It was him. I started the first case that was in the house. And then freaking, you think about a cape. What if cobalt colors are on a cape? Red, black. What do I think about? What was going on in my mind during the day for my stepdad? If someone was trying to molest him, someone was hurting these kids. Just going through my brain. Or I never, like, I didn't even have my own handgun on me. I don't even like guns. I can't even really shoot a gun. Not even me. Maria can shoot a gun. I can't shoot a gun. So, like, yeah. And, like, if someone to get to hear the truth of it, it's like the hardest thing, because people are like, oh, why didn't you turn the light on to see if someone's in a cave? What do you mean? Like, I sit there and told my therapists and people that way, do you think I had that thought process? There was never even a thought to be like, hey, that's not even a thought I had. There is a thought is when Maria comes, it protects whoever's in this house. That's exactly what happened. There was no intent, there was no hurt, there was no ill will, there was no anger, there was no passion. I looked at every definition they have in this book because I was spent on it. None of that is right. That's not what happened. And you can't even say like there's no self-defense because you need to know. I thought this was someone else. Like, how do I know who this is? I'm not in the right mindset to decide to make that decision. I didn't know right or wrong to who this was, what I was doing. My mind goes to there's kids in this home, there's Lena, there's Carly, and one of my kids are missing.
Well, how can he be missing but you killed him? How can he be missing and you shot him but you thought it was someone in a cape? Yet you have Lena, who you had just sent outside on a cold day to keep her away from what you were doing in his bedroom. I couldn't have listened to this. I couldn't have listened in the courtroom. I couldn't have been sitting in the room with her. Props. I give him props for sure. Welcome, Criminal Mind Connections. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member. It really bothers me to no end that she even brings, I don't know who in the world's calling me, that she even brings Lena into this. This was Lena with Landon and Al over 3 years ago. This is what Al and Lena were going through, and Landon, of course, because they have no idea where Gannon's at. They don't know what the hell is going on. It's a call for a runaway, but you can't say what friend's house he went to. Now, according to her, Lena saw him dead and helped carry the body. Does Lena right there look like a little girl that saw her brother's body? No. No. It's just another one of her lies.
He's not only my hero, he has multiple people that call him his hero as well. He has so many family members that just look up to him at such a small age. He's full of life. He's happy. He's energetic. He loves sports. He loves Sonic. He loves going outside, playing with his friends, his sister, his neighbor, especially Braden. This neighborhood basically gives you a true example of who my son is. Everybody coming together, all the smiles that people have. This is why I have hope, because I feel it.
They're under the impression he really is around there somewhere. This neighborhood represents who my son is. And that neighborhood is something else, I will say, because Landon posted some pictures and they've been floating around where everybody, they have their house lit up blue for Gannon. You know, the jury's out. And the people in this community lived this along with them. And they want the gavel to come down. You're guilty. You weren't crazy. You knew right from wrong. You knew right from wrong. Not gonna lie, it choked me up big time seeing those pictures. Their outside lighting, the solar lights were blue. Their porch lights were blue. Some people had blue rope lights. I mean, like Christmas lights around their house.
This is Gannon truly speaking to our community. Gannon he loves blue. He loves Sonic. He's into coding. He loves riding his bicycle with his sister. And I know that he's missing that right now. He holds his job as being Big Bubba very important. And for him not to be able to talk to his sisters has to be hurting him. This week has been awful. It's been more than a roller coaster ride. It's been more than emotional mess. I don't even have answers for my feelings other than I'm afraid. I'm afraid that I will never hear his voice, that I'll never hear him run and say, "Mommy," that I'll never hear those corny jokes that he always tells every single day. He has to tell me a joke. He looks forward to telling me something silly. And I'm afraid that I may never see that again or hear it. I don't want to believe that, because that means that I'm giving up hope, and I'm not giving up hope because my son is full of hope. So I'm urging anyone that has any leads, credible leads, if you're too afraid because you know something, a kid just doesn't disappear and no one sees him. It's not how this works.
And she's 100% right. You don't have to be in the FBI to know this. A kid doesn't just disappear. They don't. Adults can disappear. They can move, cut off contact from family, say, "Hey, you know what? You toxic asses, I don't want to talk to you. I'm going to go live my own life. Thanks for screwing up my childhood. I'm done with you. I'm moving." Change their number, whatever. They don't want to be bothered. But a kid does not just disappear and no one see them. And this was 2 days into his disappearance. It doesn't work that way.
So if you have anything that's credible, if you're afraid, don't worry about it. Imagine my son, how afraid he is. Imagine how afraid Gannon is. So please call, please write. If you need to have someone else to do it for you, please do. Because my son deserves to be here. He deserves to be here. Please call the El Paso Sheriff's County and let them know. And I thank you guys, the community, for what you've done. Because this is Gannon. This is who he is. And I thank you guys so much.
When Gannon was born, he weighed only 1 pound and 6 ounces, and even today, he's still our miracle child. He still is, and he's such a happy child, and he just brings life to every party. His smile, even today, is keeping us going. His infectious smile brings me joy every time I think about it. The past 8 days have been, as Landon said, a roller coaster of emotions. Sometimes we jump in for joy because we get an information that we might think is a break in the case, and then the next minute we get we see something or get information that just breaks our heart into a million pieces again. But through all this, just know that your thoughts and your prayers and your messages, keep them coming, because even if we don't respond, we are receiving them, and that has given us strength to get through this. And I do want to say I'm so proud of Lena, my little baby girl here, and of Landon, my children's mother. They've been so strong through this, stronger than I would have ever thought that I could have ever been. And I'm getting strength from them as well. As I said, please keep sending your thoughts and your prayers, because we are receiving them. And if you have any information at all that could help, please reach out to the El Paso County Sheriff's Office with only credible information, but any information that you think may help. Thank you so much. Your turn.
I love you, Baba.
Little girl talking to FBI agents, Colorado Bureau of Investigation, El Paso County Sheriff. She knows that she was sent out on her bike. She knew things were wrong that day. She certainly doesn't say, "Oh, while we're here, Dad, I got to tell you, I saw Gannon in the house. I helped carry him." Gotta be kidding me. That is so evil. Just Me had a comment earlier, and she's so right. Letitia is going to twist this knife to the end. Think about the hate that she has for these 3 people to continue this. She could have pled guilty. saved everyone from this. Just gone about her business, thought about kosher meals. Maybe even if she had just pled, maybe even gotten like some extra rec time or a job down in the laundromat, maybe some library time. I don't know. But no, she wanted them to hear it all. Every bit of it. She's disgusting. They're clueless at this point. They're like, somebody, please reach out. He's got to be around here somewhere. A kid doesn't just disappear and no one know. And I don't mean clueless in a bad way. They're looking for their missing son. Annette said, Brooks, yeah, the whole trial an ego trip for T. Oh yeah, she's going down in a blaze of glory, that's for sure. Sadistic is what she is. Insane. Let's go through this. I won't play the whole thing, but this is her demeanor the day after Gannon's disappearance, as they're talking, trying to figure out what's going on. Now, she has all the answers. She has all the answers. She's holding all the cards. But the way that she portrays herself is arrogant, in my opinion. Very, very arrogant.
So, do you guys just want to stand out here, or do you want to go in the?
We can go in.
Okay. I'm Detective Bethel, by the way. Okay. This is my partner, Detective Riley.
Sorry, I'm just a little, I was like, yeah, I'm not that. I guarantee you, okay, probably down there. So.
So we were just notified about what's going on with Gannon, and so I just want to start from the beginning, make sure that I have accurate information. So your name, ma'am?
It's TECIA. Same last name, Stout.
Why can't she give her legal name? It's TECIA. Tisha's not your name. It's Letitia. You just gave her a nickname. You know how important this is. You know they're looking for Gannon. She even nervously laughed when she was asked, who was the last person to see him? She goes, I guess that'd be me.
AUCH.
Your date of birth?
8483.
Give me the address, because I don't think that street name's right.
It's just Mandan, MANDAN.
I think it's funny AF that the address of their house is Mandan, which rhymes with Landon, and she hates Landon. Well, maybe not so funny now, but you know, she hated hearing that name.
How long have you guys lived there?
A little over a year.
And your name, sir?
First name's Eugene.
Your date of birth?
82.
All right. Where do you work, ma'am?
The beginning.
Which school?
I don't know. I don't like if I think it's for the early college.
And you, sir?
I'm in Ashland. Full time.
So tell me a little bit about Gannon. How old is he? 11?
That's what y'all put out. That's, I'm not attention, and that's not true.
Right. That's what I was told too.
So we were like, everything we've been basing the our mindset on. Based on that.
But someone actually texts.
Yeah, technically last night, text me. I was in Oklahoma at Fort Sill for training, and I had to come home emergency. But he texted me last night. He's like, "Yeah, we saw him on the camera. Came in, did not look distressed. Bought some chips, left on foot." I mean, I can show you the text if you want to see it. But
When did you go to Fort Sill?
when? Yeah, I left Sunday. I've been there one day.
What school does Gannon attend?
Grand Mountain.
Grand Mountain?
Yeah, it's in our neighborhood.
I was gonna say, I think that's a new one that opened up down there. Tell me about his friends.
Most of his friends are right there, like right around our house. Like he has boys that live right at the end of the street. He plays with them most of the time. Braden is his name.
What's Braden's last name?
I mean, I got all his parents' phone numbers and we talk to him all the time. But
If I could get their number too.
yeah,
So with Braden,
Braden, he's one. So they're like two families that live in the same house, but they're like related. So
Well, Connor, I know, but Connor is the Webster.
there's a Connor, but he goes to the Webster initially, like because they rezoned him because of the new school or whatever. So he went there last year.
Connor's mom has been with us the past day or two.
She works at
Yeah, she works at Webster.
so this is one of them.
Ian.
So like I said, I think it's two brothers and their families live in the same house. And they got like 3 or 4 kids.
but that's associated to Braden.
I think that's Braden's uncle. I got Braden's mom in there too. But you can get to him through this guy. This is him.
When was the last time that Gannon went to school?
It's been last week. right?
Yeah, so Gannon went to school on Friday.
Friday, yeah.
When does he return home from school?
I'm like 3:15-ish.
Yeah, 3:05 to 3:15,
Yeah.
they changed the new time of the school. Like it used to be like 3:30 to 3:45. Because of like snow days.
So Braden and Connor, are those the only two friends?
I mean,
I don't even know the parents.
I'm looking.
He wants to meet them all and talk to them because he has numbers. I don't even, like, I know them from coming to our house. Like, I don't have a lock down.
There's one more. This so Lily is my daughter's friend, but she has a brother that's Gannon's age as well. And they kind of live like right behind us.
What is the brother's name?
Reese.
Reese.
I do know that because I hear Lane was say all the time.
So they live on the next street over. And sometimes they'll ride their bikes over there, but they mainly play with these boys, these Braden. And then right next door to them is a group of girls that my daughter plays with.
Okay.
I just know their mom. Canberra is the mom, and that's her number right there. 801.
Oh, yeah.
CANBRA, I think.
So that's a mom of.
My daughter's friends. There's like 3 girls.
Well, one of them is the age of Gannon.
Yeah, I mean, these kids are like they range from like first grade to like they're 6.
So these are neighbors.
Yeah, basically they live 2 or 3 houses down, but.
So notice how Nut Job keeps chiming in. But she said later that only Al has the phone numbers. Do you think, as much as she's on that phone, she wouldn't know how to get a hold of people? It was even said in the probable cause affidavit, she did nothing to go look for Gannon. They know her every step. She did not even go look at these houses. Now, at the time of this interview, they had already been door to door because he was reported as a kid that didn't come home from playing. Now, this is the day after the disappearance. Now, we just heard her explaining what happened. She would have never shot Gannon had she known it was Gannon. But she saw red, she saw black, she saw her stepdad, she saw Michael the archangel, she saw someone in a cape, and had to do something because they could be there to molest Gannon. But she also says she gives him enemas all the time. You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. She's sitting there today, I say today, the day after, cool as a cucumber, naming off all of these kids. She knows their relations. Oh, well, they all go to school together, and she's got an older brother. She knows a lot at this interview.
They live next door to one of her two.
Okay.
And that's about it. That's all they really play with. Now he's got some other friends at school, but he never really goes to their house and stuff like that. The point of concern was this right here. This is where the concern started. I'll show you the text message he sent me. Okay, so this was, he stayed at home yesterday because his stomach was hurting.
So we got hiking on Sunday.
Okay, so yeah.
I would tell her that part.
Yeah, sure.
She's about the stomach. And we went to Garden of Gods, and we get probably about, I don't know, a few miles out, a few feet in. He's like, oh, my stomach hurts. I'm like, yeah, it's probably because you haven't been, like exercising all day. He's had this problem for a while because he gets like really bad constipation. And so his stomach was hurting all through the night. And it was, you were either on the plane,
Yeah, so I was
something,
on the way
we were like texting back and forth. And I was like, should I just stay at home? Because there was all this stuff coming out of his body a little bit.
I guess she missed that. He was in Oklahoma. He couldn't have been on the plane when they're texting back and forth. Should I just stay home? She loves bringing up Gannon's stomach. It is an obsession of hers. Everybody she talks to, she says, he had really bad constipation. His stomach bothered him all the time. She texted Harley from Garden of the Gods to tell Harley who's at work. Gannon pooped his pants. Well, maybe you shouldn't have given him so much Miralax. Annette said the pictures from Garden of the Gods they're interested in as well. That is true. I missed that. Well, I didn't miss it. I didn't write it down. That's very interesting.
And so I was like, I didn't want to go to school like that and scared me to go to school with like multiple under there. Okay.
And he gets really down and embarrassed about
So
that too.
yeah, so he gets embarrassed. He's very like emotional about that type of thing because he's sad about it. So he stayed at home. Well, we went and got good dogs, some new outfits. We got 2 new puppies. So we went and got a dog, so we got outfits at the Petco. I think it's on Coles, Nevada exit maybe. I don't know the numbers, but I know it's Nevada and the Coles right there. And so we went to Nevada with the Coles. He sat in the car because he wasn't feeling well, but I wanted to make sure he was gonna eat, and I made sure some Pedialyte and stuff like that. I think that's about it. Petco came back, whatever. So when we came back, he was texting you. That's where you wanted.
Yeah, so he had spilled a candle in the house, whatever, he was, because he felt like he was smelling bad because of his accident. He lit a candle and was playing. He spilled the candle, so he got really upset because he made a mess with that too. So
this is the story that she told him. And in these cases, when one person has the story, like in the Summer Wells case, everything comes from Candace. Candace knows what went on that day. So Gannon decides to light a candle because his poo-poo stunk. That is not what happened. Anyone who's ever raised boys know they're proud of that stink. They're not humiliated by it. They love the look on people's faces when you go into the bathroom and go, oh my God, what died in here? My kids are almost 30 years old and they still enjoy a good fart joke. But Gannon decides to light the house up because he didn't want anyone to smell the poo-poo. No. That is shit that didn't happen.
So then this is where he starts texting me. I'm in Oklahoma. So he told me my tummy hurts, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just trying to stay positive, you know. So he's worried about, teacher said he was really worried about getting in trouble not for the accident, but for the candle thing. So then right here, I was like, we'll talk later. And he's like, do we have bath salts? And I'm like, immediately, I know what that's all about. So I'm like, what, what's going on? Where did he even hear this from? So I immediately texted her. I was like, we have a little bit for baths and stuff. So I was like, put all the stuff we use for our baths and put it away somewhere so he can't access it until we find out what's going on. And then I asked him for what.
Yeah. So with that, the day before, when he tells me this, I said, he came in and asked me, did we have any the day before, which was the Sunday. And so I gave him a bath bomb because I usually didn't know bath salt. I didn't know. So I gave him a bath bomb and went to the bath. I still was clueless to the bath salts until we looked it up.
So then he tells me this. My friend said if I got some, we could play this weekend. And I told him no. Absolutely not. But we were still talking at this point. And then he was like, he went on a little bit. Then he's like, his brother has a car for a sleepover if I can come over Friday. That's kind of the end of it. That we need some more haze. So that's where we get the idea that he may have left. Well, no, he told her.
Okay.
He told her he was going to play. So
Which he does.
which they do all the time. They walk out and they're like, where you going? Be back at such and such time. And they're always maybe he's 10 minutes late, but nothing like this. So I don't even know who this friend is. That's the biggest concern on the surface. That's why that's just I always like to walk over there and meet, hey, this is blah blah blah.
We don't know anyone with a car.
Yeah. With nobody that has an older sibling that drives, none of his friends that we're aware of. So from these other people, we got some names of other kids on the bus that he plays with, and so we kind of hunted them down last night. What they did while I was on the way back. Found one kid named Jimmy, but he wasn't. They hadn't seen him, and then they were like, "Well, this kid has an older brother or whatever." And they went to their house, and they're like, "No, we haven't seen him." So that's when it really
gave us information that Jimmy had an older sibling. So of course we all went.
We think it was
around.
Putting people together.
So then Jimmy's dad answers the door and they show the picture to Jimmy. Connor's mom, with the one with my daughter. She's a 17-year-old. So he's like, yeah, I think I know that kid. And then they were like, do you know Jimmy? And the guy was like, yeah, that's my son. And then he was like, I'm sorry to tell you guys, but we don't have a older child that drives. I don't know if she said Jimmy was the oldest, but whatever it was, Dad said there was no older boy that was in their home that drove. But it was like he said, pieces were coming in from different kids trying to give us information and names.
See, the big deal here is it's not like, and I know kids, they get influences, but he's a homebody. I mean, I'm like the same way. He would rather be at home playing his little Nintendo or watching cartoons. Sometimes I gotta make him go ride his bike, that kind of thing. So he's not one just to walk off. And he's had times where he's been a little embarrassed about his stomach problem, but never anything to drive him to something like that. So that's why I had to come to grips with. I'm pretty convinced that something bad. We kind of between ourselves kind of broke it down to we either feel like he's at a house where some of this good stuff is going on.
Yeah. Early on, he was accepting her lies. You're right, Wes. She said, it's so very sad to hear Albert accepting her lies. You're right. And as things started clicking in his head, he started cooperating with the police. Not that he wasn't cooperating in the first place. Of course, he wants to find his son. Of course, he wants to find his son. He could have been like, call me when you find him. We've seen that type of behavior before. But no, he was wired, making phone calls to her, which are evidence. We heard that throughout the trial. But it is sad that this is the life they've all been living with her. And anyone that goes around her, they're caught in her web. Everyone. She's nothing but drama, chaos, manipulation, narcissism. And I think she's always been that way. I don't think this is a new game for her at all. No way. But she's telling Al he lit the candle because he was embarrassed about his smell. Well, okay, let's just pretend that happened. Let's just pretend it happened. Then he would have lit one of the candles in the bathroom. He didn't poop in the living room. Why was there no candle in the bathroom lit? No. She kept Gannon so spun up all the time. I've said before, if Letitia got a DUI, she would have been able to convince Gannon he was driving because she picked and picked and picked at him all the time. And she knew exactly when to go after him. And it's when he was the most vulnerable. It's when his dad was gone. Slim said, Brooks, watch out. OJ might learn to light a candle. It's a wonder I didn't come back to a burnt down house on Saturday. OJ was PO'd. PO'd. And the writing was on the wall about their marriage. Al knew it. Al knew it. He had, even though it was a short time, 5 years, he could see what was going on. He had been caught up in all her lies. You see, when you have someone like a Letitia, these people are either the hero or the victim. And they will make up these scenarios. Oh, I can't believe this happened to me. And then when the trusting person, and they learn not to do this because they know they're going to look like a sack full of assholes when it all comes out. They learn not to do it. When they start digging through it to find out if it's true, 9 times out of 10, they're going to find out it's not true. So we have the sexual harassment that had to be looked into. That was a lie. We have all her degrees, which I still think that she bought. She got a bachelor's degree. She did get that, but like her master's, all of her education beyond the bachelor's, I don't think, no, I think that was just something she bought in the mail. She had cancer at one time. She was curious with twins. Not curious, pregnant with twins. I read the word curious. Pregnant with twins. And so it's like you find that this person just keeps lying and lying and lying to you, that they're always either the hero or the victim. But then sometimes they tell the truth. And it's like, what the hell is going on here? And these people are more common than you think. They really are.
It will read that as to the question of saying, the defendant was insane at the time of the commission of the acts if she was so diseased or defective in mind at the time of the commission of the acts as to be incapable of distinguishing right from wrong with respect to that act, or she suffered from a condition of mind caused by a mental disease or defect that prevented her from forming a culpable mental state. That is an essential element of a crime charge. A culpable mental state is like an intentionally or knowingly. Evidence in this case will show that she could distinguish between right and wrong, and that she was absolutely capable of forming the specific intent required for these charges. Those instructions will go on to give specific guidance on what qualifies as a mental disease or defect. It says care should not be taken to confuse mental disease or defect. with moral obliquity, mental depravity, passion growing out of anger, revenge, or hatred, or other motives and kindred evil conditions. Because when an act is induced by any of these causes, the ones that I just listed, the person is accountable to the law, meaning that person can be found guilty for committing crimes charged. You should consider the evidence you will hear in this case in context with that instruction. This case is about two people. First is Gannon Jacob Stout, an 11-year-old little boy, came into this world premature, weighing just 1 pound 6 ounces. He proved to be a fighter, overcame the difficulties associated with being born so small. He's survived by his mother, Landon Hyatt, his father, Al Stout, and his precocious little sister, Lena. On January 26, 2020, something bad happened inside the Stout family home. Gannon suffered some burns. You'll learn.
Gannon suffered some burns. Now, in the trial, I was never satisfied with what happened the night before. I know Lena could have laid it out for us, but they spared her from having to testify. Elaine said, "I'm surprised Al never saw any questionable behavior from Teabag." In my opinion, he did. And I'm not here to dog on Al, but I believe he did. Because someone who is codependent, they will put up with so much BS. It's crazy. Because they have to have somebody. And so it's like pile their plate to the ceiling and they'll keep putting up with it. And I believe Harley in her testimony when it wasn't a happy marriage. They fought all the time. And Letitia would put Harley in the car and they would take off. They made it to Kansas one time. How fitting is that? And said, "Oh, okay, well, I'm going to go back." And it was a cat and mouse game with those two all the time. Letitia's going to leave. Letitia's going to stay. Letitia's happy. Letitia's not happy. Letitia was sexually harassed. Well, it turns out she wasn't, but she did this to get back at Al because he did something else. It was constant with those two. Very toxic. Very toxic.
From a video recording this defendant made that night, January 26th. You'll hear her as she manipulated Gannon, putting guilt on him for some mistake that the child made. And in that recording, you'll hear Gannon say in his own words, "I'm just worried about my burns."
Two, I just don't know what to do.
Well, devastating. Initially, Scott, I can't lie, when the TMZ information.
I hate this when she is, in my opinion, grooming Lena the way she did Harley. Like she's relying on a child to comfort her. She's talking to Lena. "I just don't know what to do." And you hear Lena, "Why?" See, Lena was there. You hear Lena. "Why? Why would she tell an 8-year-old she doesn't know what to do?" Big whoop. You got a piece of carpet that's got to be replaced. Buy a rug and throw it over it. She's got better problem-solving skills than that. And you hear Lena, "Why?" But then she goes to confront Gannon. She's building up because she knows what she's going to do.
Gannon, I promise it's the last time I'm going to ask you. I'm just freaked out, okay? Are you sure you didn't do it on purpose? Okay, we promise. You promise. Pinky promise. Okay, all right. So listen. We're gonna have to sell stuff to fix it. Okay. So we figure out what we gotta sell. We can sell the sofa. We can sell whatever, because we gotta get it fixed. So, lady, don't be mad at us and kick us out the house. Okay? You got it? You got it? I'm just worried about my phone. Okay, shh, listen. So tomorrow,
The other person in this case is that last voice you just heard, who said so tomorrow. This lady sitting right here.
Sick. And she records that as some sort of proof and posts it on Facebook. That's the only reason we knew about it. That's the only reason we knew about it. Again, she's either the hero or the victim. You're right, just me. When he's like, I'm worried about my burns. She didn't want that on the video now, did she? Shh, 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 she said. Shh, shh, shh. Yeah. What are you going to do? How did he get burned? See, I'm not satisfied with that yet. We're never going to know because the trial is going to be over today or tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, next week. We don't know. She's disgusting. She's just disgusting. He was also bleeding because if they had continued that video, that's what I heard in the beginning. I didn't hear anything about burns because he said, but I'm bleeding. And if you see the picture, and it was pointed out, if you look at the candle and you look northeast of the candle, you see blood. See, a burn on the carpet, that wasn't such a big deal for her. But blood's a different story. She can't quite explain blood on the carpet to Al. But she can blame Gannon for this. I think that the blood happened before the candle. Just by looking at the picture. Then she gets the blankets together and takes this picture. See, so she's documenting her own crime. I'm glad she did. NC Mountain Girl said, I have my issues with Al, but he didn't deserve what happened to him. And you're exactly right. You're exactly right. And that's what I love about this community, because we can feel horrible for someone, but also say, man, but you missed a lot of red flags. And that's okay. That is okay. It's never just one way. I put this in the Crime Lines and Lies Facebook group over the weekend, and a few people didn't want to have a conversation, and that's okay. You don't have to. This is a GoFundMe, help oust out with costs from the loss of his son. All right, $75,000. My question was, what the hell is $75,000 for? And a few people come in and they're like, well, if you're not going to donate, it's not your business. Well, that is not really how it works in America, but okay. We can have a conversation and not agree. Lisa Durr had made a comment and it made perfect sense. She doesn't agree with me, but I appreciated her opinion. But this is what it says the $75,000 is for. So they've raised $7,600. Some people say it's for a lot because it's his uncle that's organized it. And there's been some others, but anyway, I know some people said it's for time off work, but military accrues time like crazy. Crazy. So let me read this. Okay, my name is Jeff Davenport. I am Al's uncle, and the GoFundMe has been set up with his authorization. So that answered that, because a lot of people said Al doesn't know about it. In January 2020, 11-year-old Gannon was viciously murdered in his bedroom. Yes, he was. His stepmother is currently on trial for this heinous crime. Then it has a People magazine clip. All right, so these are the three reasons for the $75,000. Heavy costs associated with divorcing the woman currently charged with Gannon's murder. Bingo. I'm going to say that's what it has to do with. Because even though she was sitting in jail, accused of the murder of Gannon, she was still giving him quite the hard time with the divorce. Believe it or not. This was not an easy divorce. You would think it would be a slam dunk. Number 2, continuing payments for vehicles impounded as a result of the criminal investigation. This is the one that I have questions about. Okay, so they had leased vehicles. They leased these way before January of 2020. Okay, I used to lease through GMAC, and my leases were always 3 years. Well, it's been over 3 years. And after 3 years, you trade it in and you get another car, so you always have a lower miles car. When the FBI impounds property for the investigation of a crime, it is my understanding that all collection has to stop on that because the FBI has it and they're not going to make your payments. Now, there was a phone call between him and Letitia talking about the cars. He said, well, I'm still making the payments because they had Harleys, they had the Tiguan. Well, this is May of 2023. The jury's out. They wouldn't still have the cars. So I'm really confused about this. And then it says other costs directly associated with the crime perpetrated against Gannon. Any help you can provide would be appreciated. Well, and I get it. I get it. I get it. But there's still some questions with this. You guys all know on this channel that we have people that come on all the time and they would do anything for some help. Anything. Shelly said, don't you just turn the car in after 3 years? Yeah, you do. You do. And I mean, they said themselves in their conversations we listened to, and I believe it's in the probable cause affidavit, that these are leased cars. Hang on, I missed a comment. Pointer Lever says, we all have to pay for our own divorces, so Al can do the same. I feel bad for him, but $75,000 is a lot to ask for. I agree. $75,000 seems exorbitant to me. But that doesn't mean that I don't feel horrible for Al, because none of this excuses Gannon being murdered. Gannon should be here. And none of her crazy behavior would make anyone think she was capable of one of the worst murders I've ever heard of. Just me said, I bet credit cards were maxed out. That's what I was having a conversation with Where's Summer this morning. And she said, I wonder if it's for the credit cards, because he had already mentioned in the phone calls how she had taken $2,000 out of his account. So yeah, he's had expenses. It's up to like $7,900 now, something like that. She was staying in hotels. You're right, JM. She had to fuel on the way to South Carolina. So he's hung with that. I mean, he's hung with that. They were married at the time. I don't know. Hopefully, whatever's coming in, he can get it all cleared up. NC says, I guarantee they were living above their means thanks to T-Hag's spending and expectations. That's for sure. And let's not forget, she was not pulling her weight because she could not keep a job. She could not keep a job. You see, she has a cycle with her. She goes somewhere and she's the smartest person in the room, right? And then she creates this shitstorm and she's got to go. She's got to leave because she's created all this chaos with her coworkers. Sometimes she just didn't show back up. Preschool Granny said he's already divorced and remarried, so I don't understand why he needs such a large amount. His new wife could be like, look, I'm sick of paying off these bills from Crazy. Figure something out. This is eating us out of house and home. We have a new baby and we're still paying on Crazy's bills. And we know how Al is. He's going to do whatever he has to do to keep peace at home, particularly with the woman. That could be it too. Fisha said $8,000. Crud, sorry. Carol, she took $8,000. Woo! Okay. Well, maybe he'll be... Magenta says, Brooks, do you like the color blue? I know it's off topic, but I'm wondering. Yes, I do. I love the color blue. I love the color blue. I like how you think too, Sly. Because can you imagine starting a marriage? You have a new baby. You've already got this, no pun intended, baggage with you because you know your last two marriages didn't work out too good. One, your first marriage, you had to go to court and get custody of your children. What they said in trial is because of drug use. So that was with Landon. Then you get to number 2. So now you're with Letitia. We're sitting here today. Letitia killed Gannon. I mean, all of her lies, all of her craziness wouldn't lead you to believe she's a homicidal maniac. That's for sure. If you think someone's capable of murder, then your mind just works a little different way. So now you're in a new marriage and you're still paying off the bills from Crazy Train. That could be where it's from. That would make sense. Well, I'm hoping that today is the day. I go back to this day when they announced that they had arrested Letitia. And Al couldn't speak. Landon wasn't going to speak. And she came out and she spoke. And it was heartbreaking. She said, today I got the worst news and the best news. The worst news, they told him Gannon's not alive. But they held out hope. But it was until they found the suitcase in Florida, they knew there was no more hope. She's like, and the best news, because they had arrested Letitia. Thank you, Angel P. Thank you so much. She said, please, everyone pray for the right verdict. There is power in prayer. Yes, there is. A lot of people are saying 11 o'clock. Thank you, Angel P.
Really am not in the correct mindset to be even standing up here, but if I had to say one thing, that when he said Gannon is no longer with us, I'd have to say Gannon is with us. After the stories of people from all over the world, he's not only my hero now, he's the world's hero. So I think the community, the positive support from a state that I've never visited other than 2 or 3 times, I'm astounded by the amount of love that's not come from me. It's came from my boy. And never thought I'd be standing here. It's a nightmare. I've had to put trust in the people I don't know. Today, I got the worst news and the best news.
Obviously, we know what the worst news is, but the best news is that justice will be served. And I'll make sure that justice is served because my boy did not deserve any of this that has happened to him. So I urge media one more time just to hold off on questions until we know that this person, the stepmom that I even trusted, that she will pay 100% for this heinous thing she done. And I know that that's going to will be done. So I ask you guys, I beg and plead, if you've known or if you see this story, all of you have seen this story, please hold that very close to you. Because I want to live this earth knowing that justice was served for my boy. And I know that you've seen pictures, you've seen stories, you've seen my little man. He is truly my hero. And I'm gladly giving that to you guys too, that he can be your hero. I've heard stories of people that have not prayed in years, that have finally fell on their knees to pray. And I know where my son's at, without a shadow of a doubt. So many families have been brought closer together because of this. I know my boy is special, and I've told my people and my family and friends that Gannon has a testimony, that Gannon has a story. He's special. And this is his story. So make that story magnificent, who my child is. And I'm putting my trust into you guys to do that. So thank you for allowing Gannon to be your hero and sharing him with us.
Horrible. Absolutely horrible. And yes, that was before Gannon was found. I didn't mean to confuse anybody. I saw a couple of people saying, how can he get remarried if he's divorced? No, him and Letitia are divorced. I'm just saying Letitia didn't make it easy on him to get divorced. So I hope that today or very soon, Al and Landon and Lena get the best news, that they don't ever have to worry about her walking free again. They don't have to worry about her applying for release. They don't have to worry about her just getting okay in the hospital and coming out and living her best life. And that's what I'm hoping. And hopefully today's the day. I know a lot of people say 11 o'clock. Well, that's about 45 minutes away Mountain Time. So we'll see, but we are on verdict watch. So I'm going to put the stream up. I just don't want anyone confused thinking that the verdict's in. Just so you know that that's going to be the stream that when they're ready for the verdicts, they said to be about 30 minutes, then we're good to go. So I'm going to put, like, in the bio of it, the description, time to be determined. We're just putting this up for when it's ready. Because I know a lot of people are going to be in chat going, I can't believe it's in. I can't believe it's in. I thought it'd be Friday. And I'm going to be like, no, it's not in yet. That stream could be sitting there for 3 weeks. And you don't know. Some juries take a long time. This jury wanted, let's see, the exhibit list, reports, pictures from the Garden of the Gods. So they're going to sit on that. That exhibit list is long. So they're going to sit on that. But I wonder what on the exhibit list they're really looking at. They're taking their job very seriously. And that I definitely appreciate. I just, it only takes one to get really confused. You know, and if it's a strong person, they can get everybody else confused. Like something in that doctor's testimony could have rang with someone. But we'll find out. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you so much for having this conversation. Hanging in there through all of this because I know it was a tough month. I know it was a tough month because this case makes everybody feel a certain type of way. You know, knowing that in this community amongst friends that we can feel horrible for people, but still say, but you know, this isn't cool or that's not cool. You know, it's really okay because no one's perfect. Not one person. I'm not. Far from it. Hell, I'm far from it. I had to be corrected 4 or 5 times at my son's wedding on Friday. My oldest son was told to watch me. No one's perfect. So we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, you guys have a great rest of your morning, afternoon. Hopefully it comes in today. But I will, I'm going to put that stream up, but I'm going to put, like I said, in the description that we don't know when it's going to be. Here's hoping, though. Here's hoping. So I'll see you guys back here as soon as the verdict's ready. Let's just hope it's today. Fingers crossed. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you. Thank you, mods. I know it's been a crazy month, but we're here for Gannon. We are here for Gannon. So I'll see you guys back, and hopefully it's as soon as possible. I mean, as soon as possible, because I would love it. All right. I'll see you when I see you.
Mm-hmm.